Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the Three Topics Gamer, here to give another episode of my weekly Q&A, top people's questions. Or I answer basically the majority of questions that have been sent to me in the comment section of the last video. We got a pretty small episode this time around. Oh, by the way, if you happen to notice just a little bit of strangeness in my voice, I am starting to get over a cold, so that's why. We only had about 4 questions. There were a few other ones, but I was able to answer them in the comment section of the last video. So, you guys know how this works, so let's jump right into it with the first question coming from Phantom Sidious. And you want to know, what are my overall thoughts on The Mandalorian so far? Well, it's the best thing that Disney Star Wars has ever done. That is what they should have been focusing on. They should not have done a sequel trilogy. They should not do anything that has any major connections to what has already been established. I think Disney Star Wars could be at its strongest when they make their own individual thing that doesn't rely on nostalgia. That's really it. That's all I'm asking for. I mean, if you want to make your own Star Wars stories, that's fine, but don't mess with the continuity of what came before. And that's what The Mandalorian is. It is very, very strong on its own. Yeah, the show starts a little bit slow, but it absolutely gets better as the show goes on, and I can't wait to see what they do in Season 2. I think it's going to be really, really exciting. Next question comes from the Batman of Neo Gotham. You want to know, if there were any story DLC for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, what would I like to see and why? I think you could probably do a DLC and have it be kind of similar to the DLC that they did in The Force Unleashed. And like, you give us an extra planet. It can be just any random planet, and let's say there's a hidden Jedi temple there, and there's like an artifact or something special that you want to explore or find out, because there wasn't just the main Jedi temple on Coruscant. There were a bunch of other secret Jedi temples that were spread throughout the galaxy. So to find a hidden or an ancient one, I think would make for some pretty damn good DLC content. And I don't know, just have Kyle Kestis learn some new abilities or something, or maybe just something around that line. So keep it simple. The simpler it is, the better it'll be. Next question comes from Sinovic, and you want to know, what direction do I think they should take a sequel to Mass Effect Andromeda, or gameplay innovations would you like to see? They don't need to tackle Andromeda at all. They can just make it just like I said with Star Wars. It doesn't need to be a sequel to Andromeda. It can just be its own separate thing. Maybe you could have some, I mean, heck, why not do a prequel? Have a story take place, before the Reapers attack, or just have it take place in a different part of the galaxy that has nothing to do with Andromeda or what happened in the Milky Way galaxy. As long as it's a good game with a solid story, I mean, that's all you need for a solid Mass Effect game. You don't have to connect it to what's already established. And the last question of the episode comes from Brady Burke, and you want to know, do all the Final Fantasy games take place on different worlds in the same universe, or vice versa? No, they all take place in... They're not connected. They each have their own separate storylines that have no connection to any other game. I mean, when you take something like the Dissidia games, those are like what-if scenarios. If you were able to bring certain characters from different games and put them into one game and have them interact. That's as far as it ever goes. And Kingdom Hearts does something similar to that. But yeah, Final Fantasy, there are no connections. You could just say they're different universes that have nothing in common with each other. That's about it. I would say probably the only thing that maybe they have in common is some of them have connections to crystals, but I think that's about it. And then, there's some key monster types that are, spread throughout. So those are they're the connections, but that are in all these Final Fantasy games. They're simple staples. So you'll see different versions of certain summonings, or or the use of magic. Each different game has a different way to explain how certain characters learn magic. In 6, they use something called Match Attack, which allows a normal person to learn magic who typically can't use it before. And that's kind of how it works in Final Fantasy 7 with Materia, and then it works differently in 8, and how it's like an ability that you draw from something. It's not something you can actually learn. So I would say that. So yeah, they're small little connections, but they don't actually connect. Just, yeah, it's a little confusing, but yeah, there's things that they have in common, but they're all very separate. And with that, that's pretty much all the 4 questions that were sent to me for this particular episode. I'd like to thank everyone that sent in your questions, as well as the 4 people that had their questions answered in this video. If you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below, but make sure you get them into me roughly around Wednesday before noon, before I start filming the next episode. And like always, if you want to increase your chances of getting them into the video, just have them be a little bit more interesting or be a little bit more depth. Otherwise, I will answer them in the comments down below. So, like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next week.